done this for a long time. I'm not really sure what to expect.
Do you think he's going to be nice?
I do hope so. My name is Jacqueline Wilson. I'm 72.
What's the plan for today?
I'm going out to one of my favourite tea rooms, which is in Hurstbourne Tarrant. I'm going to meet somebody there. I'm a little bit apprehensive, a little bit nervous, because I haven't been on a date in a very long time.
As you're older, do you think more people are going for dates now when they're older? Or?
I think people do, whereas before, if people split up or never married or whatever, they didn't bother about connecting up with somebody, whereas I think people now do want company through their later life, so they do tend to join agencies and things like that.
Jackie, we're almost there. How are you feeling?
A little bit nervous. It takes me back to my very first date. Just to meet somebody that I get on with, that's got a good sense of humour, and you know, who knows.
And what is one piece of advice that you would give to your younger self when it comes to dating?
Just go with an open mind.
And why is that?
Well, don't judge. They say don't judge a book by its cover, don't they? And that's the same with, you know, a person. Don't look at them and think, ooh, you know, I'm not very keen on him, but give him a chance. Have you got a
How did that go?
all right, I think. It's very nice, very polite, nice sense of humour.
Yeah, and would you like to see each other again?
Yes, I wouldn't mind actually. We have exchanged telephone numbers, so we'll just have to see what happens, I suppose.
Although Jackie is still on her search for everlasting love, some couples have indeed succeeded. Clive and Heather have been dating for 2 years, but the way they met is quite unusual for singletons their age.
Yeah.
So how did you guys first meet?
We met on Zeus.
And could you just explain a little bit about what that is?
It's a dating site basically for older people. Well, actually, I don't think it's necessarily just older people, but it's where I met this young man.
So 1 or 2 photos up, or 3 photos, and then you give a profile telling everybody how good you are. I mean, they can see you're handsome from the photos, but you've got to let them know exactly how you are.
There's also, they ask questions and things about your likes and dislikes. What are you hoping for? You know, it's whether it's like casual friendship, or a long-term relationship.
Why did you both choose to put something long-term?
Well, for me, it's because I've been married for 36.5 years, and in my profile it's got that I'd lost my husband of 36.5 years, I think 2.5 years previously, and I was looking for companionship, friendship, you know, with a view to a long-term relationship, I think.
In my case, I was married 33 years when my wife died. 2 years later, I met somebody on another dating site, and we were together 17 years until the first lockdown.
I mean, to be perfectly honest, my daughters put me on the dating website, and the first night they put me on it, I was absolutely freaking out. I thought, no, this is like going to the supermarket, looking at things. I'm going to be honest, looking at, you've got these pictures coming up, and it just didn't feel right. I wasn't comfortable with it at all. They put me on a couple, and one of them was a Christian website, because I go to church, and that was quite an eye-opener.
Well, we progressed on that basis. We went from texting through the site. We then went to phone calls, didn't we?
Yeah.
And then FaceTiming. I was a little bit worried with the FaceTiming, but
because you had your golden locks down here, didn't you, at that point? Because we had lockdown, so
I thought it looked quite nice.
Yes.
Clive and Heather's story is just one of many, as older singletons head online to meet people in search of companionship. Author Francine Rousseau believes that companionship is key in order for many of these new relationships to flourish.
I think that people don't realize the extent to which there's so many people, older people out there looking for companionship. When I say companionship, I don't just mean, walking somebody to go to the movies with. I mean an intimate, loving relationship where you and this person are really there for each other, no matter what. And it's the real thing. However,
Francine isn't alone. Other specialists are worried about the stigma towards older dating, with researchers in Sheffield attempting to find a solution.
So I'm Dr. Sharon Inchliff. I'm a Professor of Psychology and Health at the University of Sheffield in the Division of Nursing and Midwifery. And I lead a programme of work which is research, education and innovation that explores the sexual health and sexual well-being of older adults, with a particular interest in women's reproductive and sexual health as well.
And what kind of stuff did this research show?
There was a lot of stigma around the topic and a lot of taboo around the topic, and that is because it's not really talked about very often. So a lot of the questions that I got asked as a researcher were kind of this thing's happening to me, is it normal? How many times are people of my age having sex? I've got this problem, is it something I can do something about? Is that part of aging, is that normal? So people had a lot of questions because of that silence that surrounds the topic, that needed answering.
Great, so you started a project known as The Age of Love. Okay. Could you tell us a little bit about that? Okay,
so The Age of Love started off as an exhibition that I did with an artist called Pete McKee. It was from Sheffield, and that was like a university funded sort of account we could apply for academics to work with creatives in the Sheffield and South Yorkshire area. So I asked Pete if he'd work with me, and I was really pleased that he said yes. And what happened as a result of that is that we took some of my key research findings about sex and across the adult life course as we get older, and he created the images, and we had like a story that had Frank and Joy, this older working class couple from Sheffield, dealing with a sexual difficulty. And so it told a story as you go around all 12 images, and they got it resolved in the end because he went to the doctors. He got erectile dysfunction, it caused problems in the relationship. He went to the doctors, he got some medication, and then everything was happy again. So the imagery was, we showed it a couple of times at the exhibition, and the response we got from people coming to the exhibition made us realise there was an outlet for this kind of thing, for people to have a safe space to talk about intimacy and relationships and to try and break down the taboo that kind of surrounds this whole area. So that's how the cafes were born. The Age of Love cafes are quite simply that. They're a safe space where people can come along and talk about anything that's intimate or sexual related if they so wish. If they don't want to talk about anything, they don't have to, and it's very much directed by what the attendees at the cafe want to talk about at the time. Because I think there's been a change in some respects. So the social attitudes towards older adult sexuality are more accepting, and we're seeing more representations of sexuality of older adults on screen, on TV and in film. But yet at the same time, we still experience and witness that ageism within our circle. I think for me it comes down to ageism and tackling that, because I think we'd have a much fairer society if we did eradicate ageism. So that involves raising awareness about what it is, recognising what to do with it when faced with it, challenging it and sort of breaking down those taboos as well. My love or what I'd like to see would be a world without ageism, because that would reflect on our sexual and intimate lives and our relationships as well.
Small changes like the Age of Love exhibition are significant ways to raise awareness of dating in older age groups. And thanks to these, more of our senior citizens are beginning to dive back into dating. Maybe it is true after all. You really are never too old to fall in love.